What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to give you guys a follow-up to the cold air intake. There's some things and steps that I did not take that might have affected the results. So today we're going to see if we can do a couple things with the computer, maybe reset a couple things, and hopefully that'll give us some better results. I also have a little bit of updates for the Camaro, along with some major performance updates, so stick around. Before we get to the truck and the new performance stuff that I have back there, I want to just give you guys a little reminder that I do have my Patreon account down below. $5 a month to support the channel, and every month I do giveaways. Last month was a $50 giveaway, Visa gift card. This month, today is the last day, and we'll also be doing a $50 gift card. The bigger the account gets, the bigger the prizes can get, and when we get to 1,000 Patreons, this Mach 1 Mustang will be given to one of you lucky 1,000. So sign up down below, the link is in the description, and it'll really help me grow the channel and hopefully be able to give back to you guys. So we've got the truck now, guys. If you didn't see my last video, you'll see here the Anvil 6th gen notch spoiler in fiberglass. I've got to get this to the paint shop, but I want to make sure and update you guys. Last video, this thing did not come with hardware. Well, Anvil actually ended up sending us the hardware separately. So as you guys can see, we have all of the bolts with washers and even the two nuts that go with the screws or studs that are on this. So you get all the hardware, so it's a bolt-on affair. So gotta get that Anvil spoiler painted. Probably be doing that this next week because the car should be ready by the end of next week. I'm very excited. So we've got the Anvil spoiler, and I also went ahead and got the full-blown Nitrous kit, guys. Kind of went all out with this kit, guys. It's a pretty sophisticated kit. As you can see here, we're going to be using the NOS Mini Progressive Controller. I've got grounding distribution block. I've got a power distribution block with fuses. I've got solderless joints that basically can do everything without having to crimp or anything like that. I've got the full MSD plate kit with the Lingenfelter timing retard box and RPM limiter box. I've got a full dedicated 2017 ZL1 Camaro fuel system. I'm hoping that'll fit the Camaro SS. It should. This basically has a fuel tank that goes in the trunk. It looks really cool. Post some pictures up below. But I've got all of this, and I've got the wiring diagram somewhat detailed out a little bit, and I can't wait to show you guys how to install this and how this is going to work. And it should be very, very fun. I can't wait to try this out. I'm very excited. I'm leaving everything in the boxes right now, and so in a future video I'll go ahead and open all that up and kind of show you guys how all that works, and maybe do a little series from, you know, showing what I got and how it's all supposed to work together, and then going through the install series, and then eventually taking it to the Camaro to the track. So I'm really excited about that. I had Nitrous before on my G8 and it was awesome. I kept having issues with having to refill bottles because I used it quite a bit, and I only had a 10-pound bottle at the time, I think. So this time I opted for the bigger 15-pound bottle. So that should be pretty awesome and should last me a little bit longer. So I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to show you guys how that works. But anyways, let's get back on to the truck, guys. So in the last upload, if you guys didn't see that, I installed the cold air intake. As you guys can see here, I installed this Air-Aid cold air Vic Junior intake, and that kit itself is basically just the elbow, this PCV line, and the air filter, so you keep your stock air box, and so you don't have to mess with any of that. And we did some draggy 0 to 60 and 30 to 80 tests. The results were not impressive at all, guys. We actually got slower. So the results from the last video were bone stock. This truck was doing 0 to 60 in 6.75 seconds, and 30 to 80 in about 8.5 seconds. Well, with the cold air setup installed with the new elbow and high flow filter, the truck actually got slower. We were running 7.4, almost 7.5 seconds 0 to 60, and 30 to 80 was 9.3 or 9.2, something like that. So it got significantly slower, and it felt slower. It felt almost like it was bogging down, getting a little too rich. Now, some of you guys in the comments mentioned that I definitely need to get it tuned, and I said I needed to get it tuned, but one thing that someone mentioned was that I should reset the ECM computer so that and then try it again. Now, the instructions do say that you need to disconnect the ground or the power from the battery when you do this, and I did not do that, guys. So that makes some sense. And now that I think about it, this truck has been probably running with a stock fuel system. It uses long-term fuel trims and of course the short-term fuel trims. A little explanation of that: if the short-term fuel trims are constantly giving 6% or 8% more fuel, then over 2-3 weeks it recognizes that and it stores that as a long-term fuel trim and basically makes that the next default value, so that the short-term fuel trim goes back to 0. I believe that's how that works. Don't quote me, but the long-term fuel trims will affect the car's performance if you change up any type of modifications on the car. So you need to get that reset, and some way to do it is with the power, disconnecting the power, and then it resets all that. What I'm going to do is get into the truck and use HP tuners. Okay, so as you guys can see there, it's a 2011 GMC Sierra Denali. So we're connected, and we've got our short-term fuel trims or long-term fuel trims for the different banks. One thing that the scanner has, which you do not need credits for or anything like that, guys, is vehicle controls and special functions right there. When you click in here you can actually control a lot of stuff. So you can look at idle. You can actually control where you want this truck to stay idling at, the throttle position. There's a bunch of stuff here, and here you can see you can command it to go to open or close loop. You got the long-term fuel trim, learning to activate or not, and you can actually reset it, which is what we plan on doing. We want to reset this long-term fuel trim. Alright, so already you guys can see there our long-term fuel trims are -4 and -3, so they're not zeroed out, and so that's what we're going to want to do. Right now we're in open loop in our system, so it doesn't use the short term. It uses some of the tables that are set up there. So we're gonna go ahead, and now you can see, look at that, guys. So we're at -10 on our short term, so we're pretty off right now, and that's probably due to the extra fuel or the extra air. So we've got a lot more air now, and so our short term is basically showing, I believe, negative, and I'll put a table here. Negative means that you're having to add more fuel or less fuel or something like that. So I don't remember off the top of the head what the short-term and long-term fuel. Maybe someone down in the comment below can give a better explanation of what negative or positive means. But what we're gonna do is go in here, go to the fuel, and we're going to reset the long-term fuel trims. So we go ahead and reset that, and now as you guys can see, it's -0.08. so we reset them, and now we're letting the short-term fuel trims do all the work. So let's get the draggy, go out and see if the truck will do better. Alright, so let's go ahead and do some testing, guys. So we'll see if resetting the long-term fuel trims will have any effect on the performance of the truck. We're going to turn traction control and stability control both off, just like last time. Now let's go ahead and get here, kind of go to complete stop and go. Okay, that was pretty good. Let's see what the draggy said. That felt really good, guys. That actually felt pretty good. So we did 0 to 60 in 6.32 seconds. That is faster than the 6.75 from last time. And we did a 30 to 80 in 8.1. So there you have it, guys. 6.3, 0 to 60, 30 to 80 and 8.4. So wow, that did feel a lot faster. It didn't bog out at the beginning. So do you need to make sure your battery's disconnected and your long-term fuel trims are cut off? Definitely. We'll do it one more time just to see the results, but wow, that felt definitely a lot faster. I am impressed. So we did hit the limiter there, guys. We ended up hitting the limiter of 90 something miles an hour that this truck has, and you guys can see it was a 6.29 0 to 60. We ended up the quarter mile at 14.6 seconds at 95 miles an hour. So that's basically right at the end of where this truck cuts off. I believe the cutoff is about 95 miles an hour. So wow, the results are impressive. That cold air intake is definitely working. That is very, very impressive. But that also goes to show that this thing, those long-term fuel trims really do make a big difference. All right, guys, so here's the data log. So I was data logging, and right off the bat, guys, look at this, the AFR that the truck is asking for, an 11.8 AFR. I mean, 11.3, 11.1, 11.1. So these, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, NA, you can run up all the way up to 12.5, almost 3 with some certain motors. I'm assuming even if we got this to 12.0 AFR, this truck would run even faster. So one thing to note, guys, is you see the last row here, you've got the short-term fuel trims. When you go wide open throttle, the short-term fuel trims zero out because the computer does not use that. What it will use is the air and fuel tables that it has, but it will use the long-term fuel trims. So as you can see, the -0.8, -0.8, remember those were 4 and 3. We reset those, and I actually went into the controls and had to stop doing the long-term relearn so that it wouldn't actually activate those, and it stayed at 0. So basically everything was zeroed out and it was going 4. I don't have a wideband on here, but I venture to guess that it was commanding 11.1, but the truck was probably seeing a little bit higher, maybe 11.3, 11.4. I'm not sure how much of a difference that intake makes, but I can tell you that on the draggy here, The quarter mile was 14.62 at 95 miles an hour. This truck has a limiter of 98, so it didn't get to the limiter, so 14.62. The previous from the last run that was the fastest was a 15.01 at 87.9. So we went from 15 flat to 14.6. Guys, that is 0.4 of a second faster in a quarter mile, just with an air intake swap and resetting of the long-term fuel trims. That is really, really awesome. The fact that really it goes back to iterate what I mentioned is we need to get everything in the engine calibrated for whatever parts you put in it. You can't just put them on and expect the computer or the engine to know what to do with them. So I'm really excited about this, guys. It makes me happy that it actually went faster, and now I know for a fact that I do need to get this truck tuned. Tuning also will allow me to enable power enrichment and all those other things to allow the truck to get into higher power a lot earlier, and even just removing that limiter. So I'm really excited. This is really positive. I'm glad I was able to redo the test. And so basically, guys, we're down to 14.6, 15.0, 14.6 with just the thing. I do have the flex fuel sensor. So before I even get this whole thing tuned, I am going to be installing a flex fuel sensor, a physical sensor. This truck is E85 capable, but it does it through a virtual sensor using the knock sensors. So we need to put in a true physical E85 sensor, which I have. So that'll be coming up in another video. And once we get the sensor in, then we can get with Pat G to send us a tune. Anyways, guys, that is it. You guys just saw it. Does the Vic Junior intake work with the stock factory box? Absolutely. It works really, really well once you reset the long-term fuel trims and get the computer to know what to do. Now, I'm also very excited about this, so keep an eye out for future videos when we finally open all this up. I've got the wing I've got to take, and of course, guys, don't forget about my Patreon account and the possibility of you guys winning this Mach 1 Mustang. But anyways, that'll do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're doing an air intake install without a tune, make sure that you disconnect the battery. Hopefully that can reset the ECU and make sure that the truck is running tip-top shape. I'll see you guys in the next one.